The stories making headlines today. Kuwait orders Philippine Ambassador Renata Villa to leave amid issues on OFWs in the Gulf state, but the Foreign Affairs Department is not backing down. The closure of Boracay begins today in a bid to rehabilitate and restore its beauty as one of the country's prime tourism havens. The MRT-3 management plans to rehire Sumitomo as their maintenance provider and take a sip of the brewing celebration of Pahimis Festival in Amadeo, Cavite, the coffee capital of the Philippines. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Department of Foreign Affairs described as disturbing Kuwait's order for Philippine Ambassador Renata Villa to leave the Gulf state amid tensions over the issue on the welfare of overseas Filipino workers. More from this report.
On the issue of OFWs in Kuwait, a statement issued by the DFA Office of Public Diplomacy said such actions is inconsistent with the assurances given by Kuwaiti Ambassador Mosaid Saleh Ahmad Al Tawik during his meeting with Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano. The DFA has already asked the Kuwaiti envoy to explain the matter while reiterating that the Philippines has emphasized that it will treat with utmost importance the welfare of Filipinos abroad. The palace earlier said that issues between the two countries have already been settled when President Rodrigo Duterte met with the Kuwaiti ambassador in Davao City on Monday. On Wednesday, Kuwait's state news agency Kuna reported that the Arab nation declared Ambassador Renato Villa as persona non grata and gave him a week to return to Manila. It also recalled its ambassador from Manila for consultation. This comes days after the rescue of some OFWs from their employers' homes, which angered the Kuwaiti government. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The Office of the Solicitor General is asking the Department of Justice to dismiss the motion filed by alleged big-time drug lord Peter Lim to conduct a separate preliminary investigation on the charges against him. The OSG is asking the DOJ to deny Lim's motion for reconsideration, which seeks to reinstate the dismissal of the complaint filed by the Philippine National Police. It also urged the DOJ not to dismiss the complaint accusing Lim of violating the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. The PNP based its complaint on the sworn statements of Marcelo Adorco, alleged bagman of self-confessed drug lord Kerwin Espinosa. In Lim's motion, his lawyers maintained that evidence is insufficient to support the finding of probable cause against Lim and his co-respondents. Meanwhile, the new panel investigating the drug case directed the PNP CIDG to submit additional evidence on the next preliminary investigation set on April 30. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency is set to reveal the names of 211 barangay officials included in President Rodrigo Duterte's narco list this week. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino confirmed Malacanang has given him the go signal to reveal the names of barangay officials included in the list. Aquino revealed that those included in the list are 89 barangay chairmen and 122 barangay kagawads. He said the list came from Malacanang and from all intelligence units from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, the PNP, and the PDEA. He noted that the agency is also validating the alleged involvement of 93 local officials in illegal drugs. Aquino earlier urged the public not to vote for candidates who are involved in illegal drugs in this year's barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. Boracay Island is now closed to tourists to give way for the rehabilitation of the popular world-class holiday destination. The temporary closure of the island was prompted by President Duterte's order to clean up Boracay's waters. Boracay will have no visitors except during emergency situations. Residents are required to present special identification cards that prove that they live in any of the 3 barangays in Boracay. The government has assured that it will extend assistance to businesses and workers affected by the closure. The Department of Social Welfare and Development has waived its requirements to accommodate residents into the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. About 604P beneficiaries in the island will receive cash assistance and access to livelihood programs. Meanwhile, Malacanang sees no problem in not immediately declaring a state of calamity in Boracay. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says a declaration only aims to speed up the procurement process. President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday reiterated his promise to fast-track the passage of the Bangsamoro Basic Law. Duterte promised that the BBL would be passed before end of May. Duterte earlier said he prefers the passage of the BBL by Congress before proceeding with the amendment of the Constitution that would pave the way for the shift of government to federalism. The president promised to do everything to achieve peace with the Moro rebels and the communist rebels. Duterte said he already talked with the leaders of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front and the Moro National Liberation Front on how to achieve peace in Mindanao. He urged the Moro people to believe in a national leadership and to his promise to do his best to solve the problems of the country. Still to come, what's in store for clinical research in the country? We find out how this industry can flourish with the support of the Philippine government. And health officials in Pangasinan appeal for calm over the death of a doctor vaccinated with Dengvaxia. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Fake news o mga pekeng balita.
Fake news is not a new issue, no? Laban sa mga naglipa ng fake news.
A day before Boracay Island shuts its doors, business establishments make the most out of the last day of their operations. Tourists spend their last-minute travel. Many are affirmative of the government's move to finally address environmental woes in the island.
I think it's a good thing because there is a lot of algae in White Beach in Boracay.
T-shirts, hats, and other souvenir items are on sale. Hotel and restaurant owners start bidding goodbye. The Department of Social Welfare and Development in Aklan opened its operations center in a bid to address concerns of workers and residents affected by the island's closure. About 17,000 workers in the formal sector and 2,000 in the informal are affected by Boracay's shutdown. The government is providing transportation aid ranging from 1,000 to 5,000 pesos to affected residents. Workers say while they surely feel the brunt of Boracay's closure, they express hope that the island will emerge better after the rehabilitation period.
So para naman sa lahat so okay lang din kung in case na masarapan samantala lang naman to. So para at least maging okay tsaka more on mas sikat pa lalo yung Boracay kung ito ay malinis na.
Boracay closes April 26, Thursday. Rom Dulfo, Philippine News Agency.
A total of 1,724 passed the 2017 bar examinations. Justice Lucas Bersamin, chairman of the 2017 bar exams, announced the results at the Supreme Court quadrangle. Mark John Simondo from the University of St. La Salle in Bacolod, Negros Occidental, is a top-notcher with a score of 91.05%. The past exams posted a passing rate of 25.5%.
Pharmaceutical companies in the country are asking the government to support the growth of clinical research as a business sector. More on this report.
Prospects for the Philippines' clinical research sector are expected to remain rosy in the years to come, but government support is necessary to boost business. BMI Research said the clinical research activities in the Asia-Pacific will be on the rise, with multinational pharmaceutical firms on the lookout for opportunities in emerging markets such as the Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam. It added that developing markets are attractive to companies doing clinical research because of lower operation costs compared to developed economies such as Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. It also recognized that the country's pharmaceutical sector is expected to expand into a 200 billion peso industry by 2022. Health spending, which reportedly rose to 4.9% of the gross domestic product in 2017, are also factors that should favor the expansion of clinical research here. However, BMI research noted that the number of registered clinical trials in the country have gone down from 80 in 2010 to 40 in 2015. About 56% of these were phase 3 trials. It said that despite the improving environment for global clinical trials in the Philippines, the relatively lack of support for clinical research will affect the sector's ability to fully achieve the country's potential in pharmaceutical research. The Fitch Group unit said the country has no official strategy to support the sector, such as facilities that support clinical research activities from multinational pharmaceutical firms into their respective countries. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
The British Chamber of Commerce Philippines fully approves the government's tax reform program. BCCP Chairman Chris Nelson said British firms doing business in the country welcome the lowering of corporate income tax rates as proposed under the second package of the train law. He noted that the package will raise the country's competitiveness in the ASEAN. The Philippines' current 30% tax rate is the highest in ASEAN compared to Indonesia's 25% rate, Malaysia and Laos at 24%, Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia at 20%, and Singapore at 17%. Nelson, meanwhile, said the government has to do a balancing act in modernizing the tax incentives program and making these tax perks attractive to investors. Under the Train Package 2, the Department of Finance is looking at a single fiscal incentive program to be implemented in 14 investment promotion agencies in the country. Most of the companies that will be affected by the streamlining of incentives are those within the economic zones, most of which are registered with the Philippine Economic Zone Authority. The National Food Authority has launched Tulong sa Bayan in La Union to help people buy affordable rice. NFA Region 1 Director Piolito Santos says rice millers in the province agreed to sell rice for as low as 39 pesos per kilogram. The rice millers vowed to help the government secure rice while waiting for the imported rice from NFA. About 600 sacks of rice have been distributed to markets. Tulong sa Bayan will first be implemented in San Fernando City, where prices of commercial rice are no lower than 44 pesos per kilo. Those buying rice through Tulong ng Bayan can get up to 5 kilos each from selected stores. Despite hot weather being felt across the country, a hailstorm struck Benguet province over the weekend, causing negligible damage to the province's crops. Delina Juan of the Office of the Provincial Agriculture said data showed only 6 out of 12 standing agricultural products were damaged, namely cabbage, Chinese cabbage, celery, potato, carrots, and radish. However, the downpour affected 152 farmers. About 35 hectares of vegetable farms in Barangay Paway of Atok Town were affected by the weather phenomenon, with 27 hectares partially hit and almost 8 hectares assessed to be totally damaged. Juan expects the phenomenon to cause a minimal reduction in the production of affected vegetables and the crop's farm gate prices. OPAG records showed Atok produced more than 5,000 metric tons of vegetables in 2017. Juan said some farmlands in Bagyas and Kibungan town were also affected, but there was minimal damage to their crops. The Pangasinan Provincial Health Office is appealing to the public not to conclude that dengue vaccia was the cause of death of Dr. Kendrick Gotak on Sunday. Dr. Ana Teresa de Guzman, Provincial Health Officer, said that laboratory tests are still ongoing, even as Gotak's family admitted that he was injected with a controversial vaccine. Gotak completed the 3 shots of dengue vaccia vaccine in 2016 when he was serving as consultant in Quezon City's Rural Health Unit as ordered by the Department of Health. According to his brother, Counselor Ryan Gotak, Kendrick suffered from depression as soon as he noticed rashes all over his body and his sudden decrease in body mass. He was rushed to a private hospital on Sunday as he complained difficulty of breathing, but eventually died after 3 hours in the emergency room. but a family expressed their desire to file a case against DOH and seek help from the World Health Organization. In Pangasinan, the PHO closely monitors 50 individuals from the province injected with dengue vaccine. Up next, the MRT3 management plans to rehire Sumitomo as their maintenance provider. And a brewing festival in Amadeo, Cavite pays tribute to one of the world's most important commodities. Details ahead. This is the PNA Newsroom.
Fake news o mga pekeng balita.
Fake news is not a new issue, no? Laban sa mga naglipa ng fake news,
Sisikat na ang panibagong araw. Tagumpay natin sa digmaan, tagumpay ng kapayapaan.
Pinagwawalay man ang dagat, isang dugo ang nasa ating mga ugat. Tagumpay ng kapayapaan, tagumpay ng buong bayan.
Tumawag sa akin ng misis ko na umuwi na ako dahil nagkakabarilan na dito sa Kuan. May malatalat.
Muntik na hindi kami makalis din sa bahay namin kasi po yung asawa ko paralyzed. May tumulong po sa amin na isang lalaki. Sabi niya po sa amin, huwag kang umiyak, ante, dili kakargayin ko ang asawa mo. Ngunit di pa tapos ang laban, nasa balat natin ang kinabukasan. Harapin ang hamon ng pagbangon, batahin natin bawat daluyong. Sa ating pagkakaisa'y walang di kayang abutin. Sama-sama nating buuin ang bayang mapayapa.
tuwing pumupunta kayo rito, tapos kayo nagkakaisa, tapos binubuo nyo to para sa amin na mga IDPs para medyo mababawasan yung nararamdaman namin.
Bawat kilos na dumaraan, lumalakas ang ating pagkakaisa. Buksan lamang ating isipan, walang lugar ang kaguluhan.
Anumang banta sa ating bayan, di matitinag ang ating bayanihan. Iba man ang paniniwala, isa ang ating lupa. Ngunit di pa tapos ang laban, nasa balat natin ang kinabukasan. Harapin ang hamon ng pagbangon, batahin natin bawat daluyong. Sa ating pagkakaisa'y walang di kayang abutin. Sama-sama nating buuin ang bayan na payapa.
Babalik kami sa Marawi, di naipon kami lahat ng mga pamilya ko.
Ang harapin natin yung kinabukasan natin.
Harapin ang hamon ng pagbangon, batahin natin bawat daluyong. Sa ating pagkakaisa'y walang di
The Department of Transportation is considering to bring back Sumitomo Corporation of Japan to conduct maintenance and rehabilitation works for the MRT-3. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugada said they are targeting to reach an agreement with Sumitomo by June this year. Sumitomo, along with its technical partner Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, was the original maintenance provider of the MRT from 2000 to 2012 and designed and built the railway system from 1998 to 2000. The procurement of a maintenance and rehabilitation service provider will be done under a government-to-government official development assistance platform with the Japanese government. DOTR Undersecretary Timothy John Batan said the rehabilitation and maintenance of the MRT is expected to last for 3 years. The rehabilitation will include the trains, power supply and signaling system, security cameras, public address system, elevators and escalators, as well as other facilities of the railway system. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency formally launched its community-based reformation program, which aims to rehabilitate surrendered drug personalities across the country. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino said the Balay Silangan program will build temporary shelters for drug offenders with the objective of reforming them into self-sufficient and law-abiding members of society. The program will be unveiled in 4 pilot sites: General Santos City, Cabanatuan City, Capiz, and Caloocan. The program takes on a home-centered approach that would convince drug offenders to give themselves a second chance in life. This consists of general interventions like education and health awareness, counseling, moral recovery, values formation, personal and life skills, among others. Livelihood and skills training programs are likewise provided to give reformers employment opportunities. Beneficiaries must not belong to the PDEA or PNP target list, wanted list, and watch list, have no pending cases, is not availing of the PDEA bargaining agreement, has not been convicted or serving jail time, and is required to undergo rehabilitation. The Commission on Elections in Pangasinan confirms that 149 candidates for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, Santo Tomas Town, are considered sure winners for the coming May 14 polls. Election officer Zenaida Diaz says the candidates can win next month's elections in just 1 vote. COMELEC records show there are 10 unopposed candidates running for Barangay Captain, 70 for Barangay Kagawad, 9 for SK Chairman, and 60 for SK Kagawad. Diaz noted the candidates met in convention with local leaders prior to the filing of the certificates of candidacy last April 14 to 21. Santo Tomas has a total of 8,102 registered voters, with 2,653 who will also vote for SK candidates. Diaz encouraged voters to still exercise their right of suffrage, noting that the voter will be taken off from the COMELEC's record for failure to vote in 2 consecutive elections. Amadeo Town in Cavite begins the celebration of the Pahimis Festival in honor of coffee as the town's most well-known product. In this feature, we will tell you how residents from the coffee capital of the country are celebrating the gift of the commodity that soothes the Filipino spirit in every cup.
Coffee lovers, connoisseurs, and entrepreneurs are once again invited to celebrate this much-loved product in Amadeo Town in Cavite Province, proclaimed to be the coffee capital of the Philippines. Amadeo Mayor Conrado Viado led the formal opening of the 3-day Pahimis Festival at the Municipal Hall Covered Court of Amadeo Town on Wednesday. An annual activity since 2001, the Coffee Festival is Amadeo Town's traditional thanksgiving for a bountiful harvest of the town's famous product. It is also staged to promote Cavite coffee to both local and international markets. The festival also revives farmers' interest in coffee cultivation and seeks to enhance coffee yields, attain a competitive coffee price in the world market, and promote the town's agri-tourism offerings, with coffee as the main showcase. The festival's opening on Wednesday was marked with the launch of a trade fair where an array of coffee brands from Cavite are on display and are for sale, a farm tour, and a coffee dance fitness marathon. The morning program also highlighted the awarding of the Outstanding Coffee Farmers, a posthumous award presentation to the town's former mayor, the late Albert A. Ambagan Sr., and the traditional ceremonial toast led by Culinary General Chef Christopher Caranyan. Day 2 features a job fair, coffee talk, and a demonstration by Chef Caranyan, a film showing, and some celebrity shows. Day 3 is set to be highlighted by a float parade in the morning and the coronation of Muchanang Pahimis 2018. A spoken poetry contest will be stashed in between as intermission, also as a must-see and must-listen-to event. This year's Pahimis Festival bears the theme, Kapeng Nagbigkis sa Ating Bayan, Patuloy na Pasasalamat. With this, the town's prime product is expected to keep on uniting Filipinos in building a progressive, blessed town, province, and country. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's headlines. Kuwait orders Philippine Ambassador Renata Villa to leave amid issues on OFWs in the Gulf state, but the Foreign Affairs Department is not backing down. The closure of Boracay begins today in a bid to rehabilitate and restore its beauty as one of the country's prime tourism havens. The MRT3 management plans to rehire Sumitomo as their maintenance provider. And we take a sip of the brewing celebration of Pahimis Festival in Amadeo, Cavite, the coffee capital of the Philippines. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And just a reminder, Pros and Cons with Undersecretary Joel C. Edco airs on Friday night, so watch out for that. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.